From cementing himself as the greatest fighter in MMA history to giving the fans what they want, these are the reasons Jon Jones needs to fight Stipe Miocic. Let's begin with the fact that a win against Stone Cold would propel Bones to GOAT status. As you all know, Jones is fresh off of a dominant W over Ciryl Gane, and the way he just manhandled Ciryl made everyone claim that Jon's already the greatest fighter in the history of the sport. But here's the issue with that. The fight didn't even last 3 minutes, so fans didn't get to see much from Jones. There wasn't much striking or grappling, and Bones didn't even break a sweat. What I'm getting at is that Jon just wasn't tested enough. Plus, it's not like this was a light heavyweight bout. No, this was Jones's heavyweight debut. So there aren't any past fights to let everyone know how they'd fare in future bouts at this weight class. While Jon's fans are singing praises for him, some people pointed out that there's no point in getting too excited. Because Stipe's the real deal, and he's undoubtedly gonna give Bones a much tougher time than Ciryl. And if Jon's heading into such a fight without ever taking a punch to the face from a heavyweight, he might be in for a rude awakening. Though all this just makes for an even better story in the event that he does take home the W against Miocic. If he comes out on top after slugging it out with a silencer, then there won't be any room for debate. Jones' status as the greatest to ever do it will be undeniable, and Jon Jones himself knows this, which is why he's absolutely locked in for the fight. A few days after his crushing victory over Gane, Bones took to Twitter to talk about how he's not underestimating Miocic. He said that in his head, Stipe's better than ever, while also being more experienced and well-rounded than Bone Gaiman. Jones went on to add that the fight's extremely important for both of their legacies, so he's treating it as such. Plus, on the UFC 285 post-show, Johnny himself said that there's never been a fight that's meant more to him before. Why? Well, as Jones points out, he's never fought a GOAT in the past, but Miocic is considered the GOAT of the UFC's heavyweight division. So beating him would be crazy. And that's why this GOAT vs. GOAT matchup means the world to Jon. Though as important as the fight is to Jones, it means just as much to the silencer. After all, why wouldn't he want to reclaim his throne? I mean, Stipe boasts a phenomenal record of 14-4 in the UFC, with wins against guys like Ngannou, DC, Overeem, and so many more. And most importantly, he holds the record for most title defenses in the history of the heavyweight division with 3. Not to mention, the two-time champ hasn't even gotten a rematch since he lost the title back in March of 2021. And if he can beat Jones, then there's a lot to be gained for Miocic. He'll be a 3-time heavyweight champ. Plus, he'll further solidify himself as the greatest heavyweight in UFC history. And above all, he'd catapult himself into the overall GOAT debate. Because if it's being said that Jones will become the undisputed king of MMA if he beats Stone Cold, then shouldn't Miocic himself be given the same honor if he defeats Bones? I certainly think so. It's obvious that his legacy's on the line, and that's why the fight has to happen as soon as possible. But there's another reason as well. I mean, let's be honest, this matchup makes the most sense right now. Before UFC 285, Bone Gaiman was the best heavyweight in the UFC by virtue of Ngannou's departure. So the hype surrounding the Jones-Gane fight was unreal. Yet Bones made a mockery of Ciryl. The fight made it clear as day that Jon's simply on another level. Sure, there are a ton of promising up-and-coming heavyweights in the UFC, but Gane's literally ranked higher than all of them, and he got destroyed. That's why it's hard for me to believe that the same wouldn't happen to the guys ranked below him. Miocic, on the other hand, is a seasoned veteran who's widely regarded as the greatest heavyweight in UFC history. Plus, as I told you earlier, he still hasn't gotten his rematch for the championship. That's why it's not even in dispute that he deserves to have a go at Jon and reclaim the belt that was once his. It's so obvious that this is the fight that needs to happen following UFC 285. Dana White even confirmed that Bones' next opponent will be Miocic. But not only is this the most logical matchup right now, it's the one that'll create the most hype. Seriously, fans are dying to see both men face off. Now, Jones vs. Stipe is the hallmark definition of a dream match because they're two of the biggest names in the history of the sport. And you know what that means. Their matchup's gonna have a big fight feel like no other. For years, Bones was killing it in the light heavyweight division, while Miocic was getting the job done against some of the meanest heavyweights. But no one could have ever imagined that both men would soon be in the same weight class and on the verge of fighting each other. Except that's exactly what's happening right now. Fight fans are over the moon at just the prospect of both men clashing. So once it's announced, they're gonna be on cloud 9, and I can't blame them one bit. In fact, I think the clash will go down in history as one of the greatest fights ever. Jon's easily the most complete and well-rounded fighter the UFC's ever seen. Not only can he strike, grapple, wrestle, and make his opponents tap, but his IQ and 84-inch reach coupled with his unorthodox fighting style make him a literal menace. Then there's Stipe, who's one of the most powerful punchers you'll ever see. Though that's not all, because much like Bones, he's also great at adjusting to his opponents. Plus his reach and jab are pretty darn deadly. And most importantly, he has a ton of experience to fall back on. So he definitely won't be making any mistakes like Ciryl did. It's safe to say that the fight's gonna be unreal, and nothing short of a slobber knocker full of vicious moments that fans will never forget. The build-up will be crazy, while the atmosphere in the arena is gonna be electric. After all, this is a legacy fight, with the winner being able to claim that they're the greatest to ever do it. And when there are fights of this magnitude, you can count on one other thing: super high revenue from the event. Everyone's eagerly waiting for the fight to be announced, because the second it's made official, they're gonna rush to buy their tickets. I'm sure the event's gonna be sold out in no time. Plus, Dana's no fool. He knows how much people are gonna be willing to pay to see this fight. So you can expect the prices to be insanely high. I mean, just look at how high they are for Usman vs. Edwards 3. While this isn't the best news for fans who can't afford to pay such crazy prices, at least fans will get to see their favorite fighters taking home a massive payday. I mean, they're both gonna get mad cash following the fight because of ticket sales, as well as sponsorships. And I'm talking millions of dollars when I say that. Sheesh! Though, while this mainly benefits both men, high-profile fights like this also benefit the sport and the UFC as a whole. Why? Because all eyes will be on the promotion till the day of the fight. The amount of mainstream attention the fight's already getting is proof enough of how monumental this match will be. And that means there are gonna be way more casual fans tuning in to see what'll happen. Will Bones come out on top again? Or will Stone Cold finally stop him in his tracks? No one knows. But one thing's for certain, the fight's gonna boost the popularity of the sport and promotion the way UFC 229 did. There you have it. That's it for why Jones needs to fight Stipe Miocic.